Welcome to the Fellowship Style Stage. I'm Nikita Fisher and I'm going to be your host today, going through with Rich Windle. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Nikita.
Good.
Nice to see you.
You too. So, Rich is the creative educator for Weller and Sebastian professionals. And tell us a little bit about your role.
Okay, so my role is to help facilitate a modern twist on education to all of our technical people, all of our hairstylists, everybody within the company that deals with hair, come up with new ways to increase our capability, share those, instigate them, and then kind of put them into place and get everybody up to speed. But also to create packages and trainings and seminars, the whole kind of education focus on styling, cutting and styling, and starting to introduce now more elements to our online learning platform, education.weller.com. So, you know, that we can, what I'm going to be showing today is partly what we're doing online as well. Yeah. But my role is to, you know, do everything that's styling with Sebastian and you know, create formats for our educators for that.
Beautiful. Well, you look like you have a stunning model here. So tell us a little bit about what you've done in terms of colour to prepare for today's look.
Okay, so the colour idea behind all of the looks that we've been creating for the collection is to colour the haircut. Yeah, so the principle is colour blocking as our overarching theme, if you like. But for this particular process, it's all about how do we introduce colour blocking into a particular shape or haircut that we're promoting, if you like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for Grace's hair here, we're using a slightly more dynamic process of colour blocking, you know, an underneath section that fits the haircut because there are layers in the haircut, but also there's a line, so a little bit more density, playful colours, using the kind of mauve theme, but perhaps a little bit softer, a little bit more simple. And then the top is a contrast to that. In the video, what you see there in the video is a little bit more complementary, the two areas, a little less underneath. So the mauves are more complementary, whereas here, today what we thought we'd do is make it a little bit more impactful for the screen and have this kind of contrasting, clean blonde on top that filters into this lovely kind of faded, slightly faded, muted is a good word, right?
Great word.
Muted mauves underneath, and working with the natural porosity of the hair. Because obviously, you know, when you get clients come in who've had full head bleaches, you know, there's going to be compromise in different areas. Absolutely. So it's like, let's be honest of what our capability is and not promise too much. And then, you know, we can give a better visual representation to what the client thinks. Yeah, I
really love it. It's gorgeous, very high fashion tone at the moment.
Yeah.
And talk to us a little bit about what you'd like to do today with your cut on your gorgeous model.
So let me just get my tools. There we go. So I've actually pre-cut everything, pretty much. I've left out the front area. So this is called the fur cut. And its inspiration really is, it's taken from that kind of 80s post-punk sort of rock chick feel, you know, like if you're looking at music, it's Blondie, it's Heart, the great American band Heart. They were, you know, kind of soft rock, but they really gave all their all, and their voices were great, and the girls looked perfect, but they wore rocker outfits, you know. So that was an inspiration for me because it kind of was close to my heart at the time. So I wanted to take all of those elements and put it into the hair, but give that hair a feeling of like a fur-like texture in the finish. You know, so the colour was really instrumental in bringing out the layering technique within the haircut.
Absolutely, and obviously with the model's sort of naturally finer texture, I'm sure that's why the colour is super important. So I'm going to let you...
Yeah, I'll talk you through, shall I?
Talk us through what you're going to be doing, absolutely. Yeah.
So the haircut itself is very much a fundamental layered haircut. Yeah, we work in five areas of the haircut. I'm just going to put this guard on. I hope it sticks. We work in 5 areas of the haircut, and the 5th area is what we call the personalisation. The detail to bring the haircut to life. And we have in the front here we have the fringe or the front area. And then we look at the sides, which is cut differently, and then the top is the crown where everything moves from, and then the nape is all about the length.
Okay, fab.
Yeah. So it's a simple, very much a simple sort of square layering haircut. So I've already layered to my length on the top, and I'm going to use that into my fringe.
Okay.
And I could do it the other way around if I wanted to. You know, some people like to start at the front, you know? So if I was starting at the front, I would then connect to the top.
Okay.
By using the shortest layer, or sorry, the longest layer of the fringe as my connecting line.
Guide, yeah.
And then one layer line leads into another. But because we've done it all already, I'm going to show you the front first. So the front, can I just get you to swivel and tip your head slightly? I've taken out quite a nice large semi-oval, yeah. You want to choose a fringe depth that fits the client's density, that fits the haircut. So it might be smaller or bigger, even as far back as the crown in some cases.
Yeah.
Especially if that client wants to wear the hair forward.
Especially when the fringe is disconnected like this and you're keeping her shaping out
Absolutely, yeah. So this area is really going to be layering the fringe, all right? So come back round again, face me, that's it. So the central section is elevated out from the head, drawn towards you in the center, nice, keeping everything really, really parallel. Check your body line, yeah? So all the hair is coming out. Now, if you lift more and elevate, that will help to perhaps give you more of a layer. If you want a slightly heavier texture to the layers, then don't use so much elevation.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna lift a little bit more.
Just for a softer result?
Yeah, exactly. But my fingers still point up to the air.
I think this is a real question a lot of hairdressers have really, is putting in that fringe shape initially, and how high to hold the hair and all those elements are so important, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm cutting it dry because you know, we want to see what's happening as it goes.
Yeah.
In the videos you'll see I actually use this Grace 2 here in the videos, and you can see all of the elements of the haircut itself online. But then, you know, with that elevation and that line is straight, as we comb that section in, we can see this little, just turn slightly, this little bit of softness, this little half inch of layer.
Really nice.
Which will really help to bevel. So this is our shortest point in the haircut, in the fringe. And then all we need to do is just start to work the angle of your section, always coming from the center out on a diagonal. So the principles are really simple to learn. And then just subdivide that fringe section. So I'm just going to work centrally all the time and over direct that hair. You could, dependent on what variation you want, you could over direct everything to the center, you could back to previous, or you could use a traveling guide.
Okay.
Dependent on how much of a line or direction you want. So if you want it more acute, then over direct. If you want something that's a bit more balanced, then perhaps traveling guide.
Okay.
And also think about the hair texture as well, you know, the thickness of the hair. So I'm just going back in, taking that section, finding my guide. There it is. And just cut that through. Now I'm cutting classically because it's nice to see that happen. But you could use a different method. You could point cut if you wanted to. You could use a blade.
Yeah,
you know,
there's so many options.
Yeah, depending on what that's doing.
And I think, like Rich said, it's super important to understand the shape, the reasons why you're pulling out in the sections that you are. Obviously does give a completely different look to the result of the fringe. So that is very important.
Yeah, there's a reason for everything, right?
Absolutely. So again, just slightly over directing, cutting that nice and
right
blunt.
to the centre. I've got my line. I've also almost got my middle parting, and that's what I'm working to. I'm seeing that hair. I can always go back over it if I need to. Obviously, you know, people will probably generally cut on wet hair.
Yeah.
Because you have that little bit more control, but you can't see anything until you've cut it.
This is it.
But you can start to see this, and back again.
That's a great shape.
You can start to see that that's just going to fold out towards the edges, and there's your line, there's your layer, all the way through in the centre.
You can really see that, it's gorgeous.
And of course, and back again. Stay there. Of course, you can work with the principle of, you know, when you blow dry it, you have that option to kind of get that little bit of extra lift in the hair.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come round. So if you keep coming this way, is that okay? We come round so that they can see this side. That's better. So on this side, I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm just changing the way I hold the hair in my fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So depending on if you're left or right-handed, it will perhaps determine how you hold the hair. So here, my fingers are now pointing down. I can see my guide behind my fingers, and I can cut up to my guide.
This is it, and I think that's where hairdressers do get a little bit stuck sometimes. It feels a bit funny, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Upside down.
It does, exactly. Because if I do that, there's a tendency to round off a little bit. So you have to force yourself sometimes to do things like anything in hairdressing.
Where you do feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah,
exactly.
You feel a bit uncomfortable with the way that you're holding it, and we find that when people come on a course, is they go, "Oh, I don't know how to hold it," and I'm like, "Okay, so let's go back to the beginning."
Back to basics.
Yeah.
And in your body position as well, you tend to cut directly in front like that.
I tend to.
Yeah.
If I'm layering the hair. Yeah. I mean, again, it does depend on demonstration purpose,
Yeah, what you're doing.
What the audience can see, but we're very lucky here to have kind of 360 camera angles. And
absolutely.
So I'm just going all the way up. I mean, for some people it might just be a bit easier if they come this way, but they've just got to make sure that the angle,
that you're not
keep
over-directing.
looking and not over-directed too much or not enough. Let's have a little look at that.
I'm sure all cutters feel the same way, where there's obviously a certain level of technique which is super important, but it's again quite a visual aspect of what we do, isn't it? Where
Absolutely.
It's important that we're checking things by eye.
Yeah, detail is everything.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're kind of trying to promote precision, and even though this haircut should look free in its finish, it should have a really strong precisional feeling to it.
Definitely.
Okay, so I'm done on this part.
Fab.
Oops, let's go. Okay, so now we can see that shape a little bit more.
Yeah, that's looking great.
Yeah.
So, are you able to talk us through, Rich, what you did in terms of prep?
Yes, of course.
As well.
Of course. Okay, so the preparation, for the hair cutting is always use a section pattern. I know a lot of people don't, and I get it, but if you're learning a haircut, use a section pattern. It is your guide path to everything that you do. Stops you from getting lost and making it up as you go along.
When in doubt, look at the instruction book.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Turn it off and turn it on again. Right, so now we've got this lovely little peekaboo fringe that's not too heavy.
Really nice.
You can see her eyes, and also it gives me the opportunity to move that hair around. So preparation was all about using the right shampoo, cleanser, and conditioner to really complement the hair condition and quality, what you want to do with the fibres, and then using a cutting lotion of your choice, something that's going to enhance the hair's condition. In this situation, I used Potion 9 as my base cutting lotion, and then added no breaker anti-breakage spray.
Okay, fabulous. Just for a little bit more of a protein injection?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a treatment whilst you're cutting it.
Great, love that. And I think all blondes agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it gets sensitized. So I'm still personalizing.
Okay.
Yeah, so now I'm going through, you can see the solidity of the classicness of the club cutting.
Yeah.
But you can keep it like that if you want to, if the hair deems it. But if you really need to give it that little element of personalizing where you want to break up that line and almost add a kind of, as I was saying, this fur texture
really nice
to the hair. You go in, especially when the hair is dry, mostly. I wouldn't do this when the hair is wet, personally, because I really need to see the density that's in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I can go in and just take those little layers of hair and open up the spaces. Not to disrupt the line, but to give that hair that sort of soft feel on the ends. If you wanted a more chopped texture, then change the angle.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
Go in a little bit deeper.
Yeah, or just change the angle of the way that you do it. And all I do at this point, or all we do at this point, is we get people to look at what they've got, and then that's what I want to achieve, and now I need to do it through here.
Create that, and it makes absolute sense when you can see that, like I can, right through this direction. It's very visual, this. So obviously Rich is doing that really nice and lightly with the purpose and being very careful not to go too deep, as he's just wanting that soft result with this.
Yeah.
But just breaking up that kind of shag hairstyle that's already quite blunt.
Yeah,
just for a softer result.
And of course, the lower layers, because they've all been extended up in the process of cutting, they're softer anyway because they've started here and then they've opened up and are more open anyway. So you really kind of only need to go through the top sections.
Yeah.
With this part.
Just to keep that nice and soft.
Yeah. Okay.
So would you normally, in a salon situation, cut this wet then to put in the initial shape?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The personalising is always a bit about just
dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Come this way again for me. Is this okay? So I'm going to come into the fringe before I finish, and I'm just going to lift that fringe. Okay. Right past the root movement where I see that heaviness. I'm going to go in and really deep point cut that hair.
And elevating, just to explain, just to again create that softness through that shape.
Yeah. So I get nothing, so I don't see the cut.
Just keeping everything super soft.
Yeah. Just lift past the elevation and go in and just open up the spaces. Because I've cut everything bluntly, you know, even though I've cut it in space, it's still a little bit blunt. But it's okay.
It's a very personal touch, isn't it? It's working on everyone's hair type, face shape, individuality, colour.
Colour, the whole bit.
So many aspects.
Yeah, yeah. And that way, it gives you as a hairstylist, hair colorist, whatever you do in the salon, you know, some people are specialised, some people do everything, right? So it gives you that edge, I think, over perhaps other hairdressers that you are thinking, dare
outside
I say,
the box.
Yeah, laterally.
Not just brickwork hairdressing, that's what I always
which,
say.
You know, I know we need to copy and paste sometimes because, you know, you need to learn the principles.
Once you understand the fundamentals, you can break them, can't you, slowly?
Yeah, or personalise them.
Exactly, because it is art, really.
Yeah, exactly. It's like wearing an accessory.
Yeah.
You know, you've got your classic jean, top, t-shirt, leather jacket, jeans, but you just want to make it look different from everybody else's.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that looks like we're getting towards. So what I'm going to do is, just so you're going to use a little bit of texture maker on the hair. Now this is a mineral salt spray that you can work with on dry finish.
Okay, great.
But it will wet the hair.
Okay, like a wet hairspray?
Like a gel spray more.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very directional.
Nice.
You know, it goes where you put it.
Yep.
But in this principle, I don't actually want to do that because the hair's much finer. If I had like thicker, longer heads of hair and I want that beachy look, then I'd go for it. But I'm using it slightly differently by spraying it into my hands and getting those salty minerals all the way through my hands. And then I'm just going to start to push that product. And it's picking up on the root. Turn that way slightly. And it's picking up on the ends. And it's starting to feel nice and dry.
And this way you can really identify where you want the product to be put, right?
Yeah. You want to, like, when you're doing this look, it's quite nice to kind of get it looking a little bit Bon Jovi first, for want of a better expression. You know, rock out and really kind of make it look wiggy, and you know, don't be afraid to push the texture a bit first.
It's all in the prep, isn't it?
Yeah.
With anything really, where you're creating volume like this, it's so important to prep the hair with the right products for the right hair.
Susie and the Banshees, that kind of thing, you know. And really just play with it, but just don't wet it down too much. Okay, so then take a hairdryer. Start to blow those minerals into the hair. Yeah. Give you a little bit of a fix.
Yeah. Sets it.
It's a bit like Velcro. It kind of connects, but lets you manipulate as well.
Really nice.
That way is also, you can see the colour pop a little bit more.
Definitely.
Yeah, I like it. Darren did a great job in making sure the hair was in place. just feel kind of feel the way you want it to look. I mean, I might not send her out to the salon on a Monday like
all
this.
done.
But on Friday, she might come to me and say, vamp it up a little bit. Okay.
Did you use the hairdryer just then on heat or cool?
A little bit of heat.
Okay.
A little bit of heat, not too much, just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to add a little detail, which is microweb fiber, which is an elasticized, non-wax, if you like, synthetic wax. And I'm just going to turn you. Okay, and I'm just going to flick that through those lengths, just to give me a little bit more of that kind of tousled feel. But I don't want to create too much of the flatness that perhaps a wax can sometimes give.
Yeah, you still keep it nice and airy.
But I want the airiness.
Yeah. And you can really see this colour exposed everywhere now, which is lovely.
It's nice, isn't it? And that, I think you can kind of see what we talked about with the fur texture, as opposed to, the kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Shag haircut, or the wolf texture.
Yeah.
Less of the wolf, more of the fur, right?
We're all about the fur.
Yeah.
She looks great.
So, I'm just going to finish off with some hairspray. I would like to do that standing up if possible. Thank you so much. If you stand just there. That's it. Keep the bucket. So I'm using my favourite shaper Fierce, Sebastian Shaper Fierce, and I'm just going to lock those pieces into place. This is a great little tool to finish with when you know the product, to capture everything. If you go too far, it can sometimes be a problem.
It does.
Only because it's super strong.
I was going to say, it does look like it's got a great hold.
Yeah.
Just individually pulling those little pieces out is
absolutely
the thing that makes it, doesn't it?
Moulding the hair into place. A little bit, not too much. The key here is get all your pre-work, get your prep done, do that nice blow dry, get a great cut in there, great colour, and then
the majority is done for you.
You saw it nice and smooth.
Yeah.
And then if you want to just vamp it up, you just need to push the texture a little bit more.
Well, she looks absolutely fabulous.
She does.
Thank you both so much. If she can do a gorgeous 360 for the camera as well. Thank you.
Looking good.
Thank you so much, Rich. Your model looks absolutely gorgeous. Thank you, Grace. If you do a 360 for us today, I hope everyone's enjoyed. Looks gorgeous.